The devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
Deep from the bowels of the Macabre Theater Laboratory, we bring you Macabre Cast. There is nothing wrong with your streaming service. You are exactly where you should be, where the slush puppy machine is always on and cold. Your favorite horror mag is on the rack, discreetly displayed between Women's Wear Daily and Cosmopolitan. I'm your host, Dark Mark, along with my mold-riddled counterpart, Karis, the Little Mummy, here to bring you another episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping ours where they belong and adding them where they don't. Ew! This is a safe space for those who still like their gore over the top and their blood by the barrel, and if there's a decent plot that's considered, that's a bonus. Newbies welcome, regulars welcome back, and worshippers, get out of here. Oh. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button and ask a friend to do the same. Even that guy whose burps don't smell any better than his farts. Yeah, that guy. If you wish to interact with fellow monster kids, follow the Facebook page, Macabre Theater. It's there where you can leave me a voice message through Messenger and become part of this show. Macabre Cast episode 134 begins now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Adoro il cast macabro.
Hello, Karis. Is that a demigorgon in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Aren't I supposed to be the one to tell the jokes, Dark?
Oh, I just thought I'd throw a little Stranger Things levity into the mix.
Oh, I see. Referencing one of the monsters in the show while implying that what? I'm gay?
Of course not, Karis. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, moving on. So, how many dance instructors does it take to change a light bulb?
Gee, Karis, I don't know. How many dance instructors does it take to change a light bulb?
5, 6, 7, 8.
And on that note, it's time for horror news.
Lights river showers, she said, open only the strong shall spray. She said, but I'm feeling quite weak. She said.
Scarlett Johansson joined the cast of Mike Flanagan's Exorcist film. The Strangers Chapter 3 releases February 6th, 2026. Sam Raimi and Jordan Peele are teaming up for A Portrait of God, a thriller-based viral short film. Silent Night, Deadly Night, the remake, releases December 12th. And the scariest news of all, Macaulay Culkin is pitching the idea for Home Alone 3. Yikes. And that's it for horror news. And Draven agrees. Draven the blood-vomiting bat.
Children of the night, what music they make.
In 2016, the Duffer brothers, Matt and Ross Duffer, dropped a show on Netflix called Stranger Things. At first, their creation was going to be called Montauk, with inspiration coming from movies like Jaws and Close Encounters. It would be full of conspiracy theories about the Montauk Project. But this quickly developed into a story set in the 1980s about government secrets and the creation of a girl named Eleven with telekinetic powers, and the accidental opening of a portal to another dimension that we've come to know as the Upside Down. The show was a love letter to the works of Stephen King, John Carpenter, Wes Craven, and Steven Spielberg. When the child cast auditioned, they were even asked to read lines from the film Stand By Me. The show plays out several years during the 1980s, Season 1 being 1983, Season 2, 1984, Season 3, 1985, Season 4, 1986, and the final, Season 5, will wrap up in 1987. The COVID-19 pandemic shut down production, causing a significant delay between Seasons 3 and 4. The showrunners used this time to pitch the outline of Season 5 to Netflix. But they claim the overall production process was impacted, and it caused creators to reevaluate and rework the 5th season. Stranger Things Season 4 concluded on July 1st, 2022. Here we are, Monster Kids, November, December of 2025. It's been a long wait. Was it worth it? Now, I'm assuming you've seen the first 4 episodes that Netflix dropped at Thanksgiving time. And I want to know, it's been a long time. Was it worth it?
Hey, Dark Mark and Karis, the little mummy, and all the kids out there in Monsterland. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. I had a really good Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. But my Thanksgiving started on Wednesday this year because we got Stranger Things back. And I'm so excited to hear about what you guys thought of Stranger Things this time around. I thought at first, the first episode of the season started off a little unsteady, and I thought the acting was a little awkward at first. The characters are becoming flanderized a bit, and I thought the CGI and the or is it AI? I don't even know. It was a little corny in the first episode. But I soon got over that because I think this story really is wonderful. And I immediately got back in the groove. And I think everybody found their footing. And it was back to the favorite show that I've always loved. So, I'm really glad to see where they're going with this, and I think I have an idea of where it's going. I don't think that that Henry Vecna is actually going to be a villain by the end of the show. As you know, if you've seen it, I also like what they're doing with Will's character. I'm glad he finally became more of a important character. That's my favorite thing that they've changed this season. But my favorite thing about the show, after watching these episodes, and maybe it's because it's around Thanksgiving, makes me realize that one of the things I like best about this show is that it's funny, but wouldn't it be really nice to have a group of friends and family that you could really love that much and have so much fun with that you'd want to go out and conquer a supervillain together, that, people that you could really trust and have friends like that. It's kind of like, I think that's a big part of the show as far as I'm concerned anyway. I don't know. Anyway, I go on. I'm really into science fiction right now, so if anybody's got any suggestions for some good science fiction horror that I can watch in the next few weeks, I'd appreciate it. And besides that, I wanted to call and say the next big thing coming up for me is going to be my metal fix that I'm going to get when I go to the Blue Ocean, on January 10th to see my favorite local band, the Blizzard of Oz. And if any of you haven't seen this yet, you better get to see it because it is really the best. The best Ozzy tribute band out there, period. With the great guitar player and the great Dark Mark. And you must go. So I hope I see some of you guys there. Anyway, so that's about it. I guess I'll be talking to you guys soon. And and of course, how could I forget? Can't wait to hear what Dark Mark thought of the movie Joker. But all in good time, whenever you're ready to talk about that, I'm waiting. Well, I'll be talking to you soon, and I'm so excited to hear about what you guys thought of Stranger Things. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Well, well, well. I heard it finally happened. You actually saw the Joker. Well, come on. Everybody's waiting with bated breath. Let's hear it. What did you think?
Well, let's cut right to the chase, okay? I'm going to start off by saying the film is excellent. It really is. And actually, it's really sad. Because it deals with mental illness, and mental illness it's a horrible thing, especially for the person who has it. So I found most of the film very sad. I don't even know that it had to be a Batman film or connected to Batman in any way. And I'm going to tell you right now, it started going down a road that was aggravating me about Batman, but then it fixed itself. I'm not even going to get into all that. I'm glad that it fixed itself and it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. But I don't even think it had to have anything to do with Batman. I think it could have just been its own movie on its own. But I did find it very sad. I did enjoy it. It was very good. And Robert De Niro, what I loved was he's actually playing the part of almost kind of like what Jerry Lewis played in King of Comedy. Only now De Niro is really the talk show host that he so wanted to be in King of Comedy. But that's a whole other story in itself. But I really did enjoy the film. I mean, of course, the acting was phenomenal. The story was very good, was very well put together. But as I said, sad. That's not a feel-good movie by any sake of the means. And a lot of shocking things happen. I will say there were a couple of scenes and things that happened, mostly near the end, that blew me away, did not see coming. But of course, Chicago Tina was right. It was a great film. What took me so long to see it? Honestly, I just kept looking for the film everywhere. And being as cheap as I can be, I didn't want to pay to see it. And so, as predicted, the film was hidden in a bathroom so that when Chicago Tina came in, she would excuse herself and went into the bathroom and retrieved it and came out and threw it at me, just like a scene out of The Godfather. But yes, I finally saw the Joker, and there you have it. And that's what I thought. So now, see, that whole thing is over with now, and we can move on. We won't even get into the fact that I had recommended Midsommar, which is not for everybody. And poor Chicago Tina and her husband went and watched it. And, she's not a fan. Might be all that nakedness at the end. Not sure. But she did not like Midsommar. And it's not for everybody. It is a very bizarre film. But I also think it is like the poster child for foreboding and awkward, uncomfortable situations that once you're in them and want to get out of, you can't. But the Joker is done. I have seen it, and that's what I think. Always so great to hear from you, Chicago Tina, and we hope to hear from you again real soon. So, what's my take on Stranger Things 5, you ask? Well, the worst I can say, I think, is the extremely long length of time between season 4 and 5. It really doesn't help the show. I think, quite frankly, that many people have jumped ship at this point. Certainly, obviously, not enough to get Netflix worried. The second worst thing I can say is what is going on with everyone's hair on this show. I'm not talking about hairstyles, duh. I know it's set in the 80s. Robin looks like she cut her hair with glue scissors, which I know Debbie Harry did that in real life and it worked for her, but yeah. Lucas, obviously he's trying to pull off the kid and play, but it looks like some bad hat Harry. Mike, please, just wash it. Dustin, well, that poor kid could only go up, so good job, Gayton. Will, it's the creators who kept him in the bowl cut all these years, so they had to do something to fix that, and thank God. Hopper, the Hells Angels would be proud. So, during the first 2 episodes, couldn't decide if things just seemed off or if it had just been too long. The only one off here, I guess, was me, because I've seen all 4 at this point, and I'm happy to see that it was me that was off, not the show. I'm glad that the show is just as good as it always has been. I've never been okay with the fact that the last season killed off my favorite character, Eddie, but at least my kids get to see what their dad looked like and dressed like in high school. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about these 4 episodes, so if you haven't seen them, you knew this episode was going to be all things stranger, so I guess don't listen. Just come back and listen to this episode after you've seen them. Let's talk about some characters that aren't so in the forefront, shall we? Erica, Lucas's sister. I wish we had more Erica. Murray, I liked him a lot more in season 4. So far he's wearing out his welcome. We'll see if things change. And where is Argyle, the pizza guy? Not that he wasn't a tad annoying. And speaking of annoying, dipshit Derek, he takes the cake. He's like the reincarnation of Piggy from Lord of the Flies, only with the character traits of Jack from that story. I felt the first 2 episodes were a bit slow going, but after all this time, maybe that's a good thing. My favorite scene so far is when Karen Wheeler and her daughter Holly are hiding underneath the bathwater, holding their breath, while the Demogorgon is searching for them. It reminded me of A Quiet Place, but, who cares? It works. And I don't care that she was playing music in the bathroom before this all went down. How she didn't hear that thing coming through the ceiling is just a mystery. All in all, the show is very good, and it's probably best to go out on top. So the next 3 episodes come out Christmas Day 2025, and the final episode will drop on New Year's Eve. Originally, the creators said that there would be spin-off shows. They have since said that there will not be. Probably best. I'd like to see what else the Duffer Brothers are capable of.
Speaking of strange things, look who's sitting over there in the corner in my favorite chair. It's Horror Chat Matt.
Hey Doc Mark, Little Karis, and all the Monster Kids hang out the theater this week. It's Horror Chat Matt checking in. Well, Doc, I guess I was so excited for Thanksgiving last week that I completely forgot to call in and missed the last week's topic. So this week I'm going to give you a double helping, and I'm going to answer this week's topic and last week's topic. So right off the bat, let's take care of last week's. Which do I prefer, slow or fast-moving zombies? Much like yourself, I do enjoy both, but if I had to give a definitive answer, I would lean slightly more towards the original George Romero slow-moving zombies. Mostly because I just love the sense of dread that no matter how fast you are or how secure you think you are, the overwhelming numbers and the inevitability of these slow-moving zombies will eventually overtake you. And let's be honest, if I'm going to live in one of these worlds, I'll probably survive a little bit longer in the George Romero verse than the Zack Snyder version, if we're talking about the Dawn of the Dead movies. I don't like my chances going up against those fast-moving zombies. And now on to this week's topic about Stranger Things. I really love the world that the Duffer Brothers have made. Did the layoff hurt this season? Maybe, but overall I'm pretty happy. I watched the first 4 episodes. My only really complaints are, like everybody, the amount of time that passed in between and, things that were going on that prevented it from coming out sooner. But, I can live with it. It's better than never getting the end of this story, which, let's be honest, growing up, a lot of the TV shows that we watch, they just would be on and then you'd never see them again. They either were canceled or not renewed, and there wasn't a lot of long-term storytelling going on back then, but there were shows that did have plot lines and stories that never got a proper ending. So I'm happy that we're going to get that with this. My only other real complaint about Stranger Things, especially this final season, and it's the way that they're released. I do like that they're breaking it up and releasing them here and there instead of dropping them all at once. But I would prefer, with how big this season is, if they went to the old traditional 1 week, 1 episode release schedule. With the way people love to spoil things, and yeah, I did my best to stay off of social media before I finished the 4 episodes, but I still had a couple of things spoiled for me. And I do kind of wish that was the format they were going with. Other than that, unlike The Walking Dead, which cannot seem to die, I hope this is it for Stranger Things. I'm not interested in any spin-off movies or series or anything like that. Just be done with the story, tell your story, and move on. I'm pretty sure the Duffer Brothers probably feel the same exact way. They want to try some other things besides living Stranger Things for however long it's been. And last but not least, I did have a quick review for you. I took in Good Boy on Shudder. I thought it was pretty entertaining. The runtime was just about right. The dog is amazing. Great dog. I guess it's only one dog throughout the entire movie, which is pretty awesome. And it's not a trained dog. It's just the director, writer's pet. So I thought that was pretty cool. The concept was interesting. The ending I enjoyed. There was some truly creepy moments in this thing that I didn't think was going to get me. And my only real complaint about it is, much like most Shudder movies, it's the budget, and it's nothing against the director and the storytelling. They only have so much money to make these movies, so it's usually a isolated location, not a lot of extras. And they spent their money well, though. The special effects were pretty good, and overall, I really liked it. I will give it a 7 out of 10. I'm curious if you've had a chance to watch it yet, Dark, or the other Monster Kids, if they liked it. And I guess that's it for this week. So, as always, make mine Macabre Cast.
Glad to hear you like the slow-moving zombies better if you had to choose, because I do too. And that's just like the Mummy horror chat. As I've said before, he moves slow, but at some point, you have to go to sleep. And I'm curious if you've heard about, Romero's daughter. She has made Queens of the Dead. I know it's been making circulation at these festivals. And I have heard some positive things about it, although it's not really a horror movie. It is more of a comedy. So we'll have to see how that goes. And now that Stranger Things is going to end. I like how they drop a bunch of episodes at a time, by the way. I know you didn't like that, but I'd prefer that. And now that it's going away and it's finally going to end, the anticipation for Crystal Lake now grows. Good Boy I haven't seen yet, but it's on Shudder, and I am definitely going to give it a look-see. So great to hear from you, Horror Chat, and we hope to hear from you again next week.
Should I stay or should I go now? If I go, there will be trouble. And if I stay, it will be double. So you gotta
Don't miss a night of tribute to two departed rock legends. Blizzard of Oz, the ultimate exaltation of Ozzy Osbourne and Randy Rhoads in an unforgettable time gone by. Don't wait, as tickets are selling fast. Blizzard of Oz, live at the Blue Ocean Music Hall in Salisbury, Mass. Saturday, January 10th, 2026.
Special guest, the Lords of Salem.
Horrible mention. This week's horrible mention is 1971's Werewolves on Wheels, directed by Michael Levesque and starring Steve Oliver, Donna Anderson, and Gene Shane. Bikers in this film are actual bikers and stuntmen? Of course it is. Is it that most of the shots of them riding across country, some pretty decent cinematography? Sure it is. But Monster Kids, I've done run out of good things to say about Werewolves on Wheels. A biker gang visits a monastery of Satan-worshipping monks, one of the female bikers as their sacrifice. Well, this doesn't sit very good with the gang, so they trash the place. But the joke's on them when, come to find out, because of these rituals performed by the Satan-loving monks, Helen is now a werewolf. Saying this is probably the brightest float in the poo parade is far too nice a compliment for this tired heap of urine-smelling salaciousness. 1971's Werewolves on Wheels is this week's horrible mention.
Even hear her utter one word. I can just see a vision of her in her flash dance shoulder-off shirt.
Kids, it's Laura Horror. I have to chime in during Stranger Things week. I am obsessed with Stranger Things. I've watched every season at least more than once, some multiple times. Is season 5 worth the wait? It's, how do I explain this? I absolutely love season 5 so far. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. I might like it better than season 4 so far. However, it would be worth the wait if the show was going to continue or at least do several more episodes. I binged the first 4, which I was of two minds about, but I did. And now waiting for the next ones to drop. But sadly, the Christmas weekend ones are going to drop. New Year's Eve is going to drop. And that's going to be it. And I'm going to be sad. I waited so long. It's like a tease. You get a few more episodes and done. But anyway, so far so good. I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of them. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Yes, Laura Horror loves Stranger Things. She gets very excited when it comes on and has her t-shirt on and she's ready to go. We both are enjoying it very much.
Is it cut like a shoulder off?
No, Cara, it's just a regular t-shirt. Yeah. Thank you so much, Laura Horror, and we all hope to hear from you again real soon.
Hey, you ever wish you were the coolest monster kid on the street? Now you can be. Macabre cast shirts, beanies, and now Java mugs. Message Doc for Venmo info. Bim facts.
Hi, Dark Mark. Hi, Karis. Hi, Monster Kids. Grim Kim checking in. Snowy Thursday morning. I just wanted to check in and talk about something that I discovered this week that I watched. And actually, it's a Christmas movie. Didn't know that going in. I was going to watch Guillermo del Toro's first incarnation as a director, Kronos, Kronos. It was wonderful. It was magical. It was a horror movie. It was about family, the ties that bind. And yeah, according to the timeline, it was a Christmas movie, and they allude to that in a couple subtle ways. Highly, highly recommend it. Has that early fantastical quality that we'd go on to see in the rest of Guillermo del Toro's movies, including Pan's Labyrinth. And I highly recommend it as a Christmas movie. Storyline is some older antique dealer finds talisman statuette that will give you eternal life, but in a way that perhaps makes you need to work and feed for it, let's just say. And anyway, totally enjoyable. Another one I just saw, just happenstance, the newest version of Salem's Lot. Yeah, I liked it. They took some license with the story. They made it very it-like with the children-heavy storyline. And the whole town was like The Walking Dead at one point. I don't remember that in the book or the first movie. But yeah, it was very enjoyable for a movie considering the slop that's on TV these days. And that's it. Just a quick check-in. I wanted to make the deadline. And I hope you guys are enjoying the holiday season. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we can never really get enough Christmas horror movies, right, Grim? Because sometimes I feel like every year we are talking about the same old Christmas horror movies. I'm excited to see the new Silent Night, Deadly Night, although, as I've said before, it will never live up to the hype and the outcry of the original. Kronos, I have not seen it. I see, though, that, as you said, it's a Del Toro film. So my next question would be, is it Del Toro Shape of Water Del Toro or Del Toro Frankenstein? Salem's Lot 2024, I loved it. Now, I've said this a million times. I would never take it over the original 1979 version. I'm sure you wouldn't either, but it was very good. And I believe I reviewed that back on Macabre Cast, episode 113, if anyone's interested in hearing what I had to say about that. Always so great to hear from you, Grim Kim. We hope to hear from you again real soon.
Don't touch that dial, monster kids.
Yeah, you don't know where it's been.
Pipe down. It's almost time for the final thought.
Not quite, bro. Not before. Cobwebbed Classics.
Ooh, yeah. Cobwebbed Classics.
Welcome to Cobwebbed Classics, where I dust off a lost, forgotten, or just plain unappreciated film and introduce it to, or maybe just remind you about it, so your spooky Saturday night might run a little creepier. Classic is 1962's The Phantom of the Opera, a Hammer Films production, directed by Terence Fisher, starring Herbert Lom, Heather Sears, and Edward D. Souza. When the vile weasel, Lord Ambrose, steals the life's work of poor composer Professor, seriously by Herbert Lom, Petrie tries to stop the forgery, breaks into a printing office where the music sheets are copied, accidentally starts a fire that leaves him severely disfigured, only to return years later to wreak havoc on the opera house that plans to perform one of his operas. Other than Chaney's 1921 silent classic, this is probably a favorite version of mine. The London Opera House used in the film is the Wimbledon Theatre. The Phantom's mask, made last minute before filming began, at times almost looks like the mask of the Shape in Halloween. It was really creepy. Even though it was directed by the legendary Terence Fisher, the film flopped on its release. The subplot of the film involving Scotland Yard was not filmed by Hammer, but was created for American television. Why? Who knows? Taglines for this gem are as follows: horror unimaginable, rises the figure of terror incarnate. The most unusual tale of terror and love ever told. He hid behind a face that was not his, until her beauty stripped away his curtain of evil, his mask of horror. 1962's The Phantom of the Opera is this week's Classics. I know it probably comes across to most that I do this podcast because of my disgusting love for horror movies. But, truth be told, no, that's not why. I do this podcast in the hopes that as you go through your daily grind in life, when you've started to feel that the day is far too heavy and you just can't carry it anymore, hope on those days when you tune into Macabre Cast, that all goes away and something I say puts a smile on your face.
You know, maybe I shouldn't be so quick to blow the foghorn on Metal Melody. Maybe I should be saving it for when you start to lay on all your bullshit.
You make me sad, Karis. If you think you have it bad, can you imagine if you've been charged with a crime? Or imagine if you've been charged with a crime you didn't commit, and you walk into court, and this is your judge. This is Judge Matthew Thornhill, who's a huge Elvis fan, and so am I. I love Elvis Presley, but he's presiding over people's lives and works Elvis into every conversation during trial. You know, Elvis lyrics. Imagine if you were the victim of a rape and you were facing down your attacker. And this is the guy sitting up here. Well, as scary as this is, fear not, because Judge Matthew Thornhill is being forced to resign. Well, there must definitely be a higher power.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Hello, Doc, Mark, Karis the Little Mummy, and oh, hi, Graven. What is he? Blood-sucking bat? I forget what you called him, but anyway, and hello to all the Macabre Cast fans listening. This is Metal Melody checking in. So I just want to say I haven't seen too many horror movies lately. I've been very busy working overtime and Christmas shopping, and you know the holidays are much more busier than normal for everybody. You're out shopping, decorating, doing this, doing that. And there's been nothing really at the cinema worth going to see. There hasn't even been anything scary out. I did want to say, I do, regarding episode 133, I think it was, I missed about the zombies. I do prefer the old school, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, the older zombies. And I agree with, I think it was Larry, that 28 years later, those movies really aren't zombie movies because they're kind of like a virus, thing, even though they look like zombies. I kind of put them in the zombie, little corner too with the other zombies though, because they look like zombies. But I guess technically they're not undead, so they're not really a zombie. But anyway, Stranger Friggin' Things. Are you shit me right now? Are you shit me right now? Amazing, incredible, fabulous, fantastic. I cannot even tell you. I think I am my pants at the end of episode 4 after the first 4 episodes. I just can't say enough how much I loved it. The writers, producers, everybody there is incredible. Those kids can act like unbelievable. And the funny thing I wanted to say too is I was watching it, and my kids were here for Thanksgiving, and my ex usually comes. my kid's father, and I had it on, and he's watching a little bit of it with me in the parlor, and he goes, "What the hell is this?" I go, "You haven't heard of Stranger Things?" He's like, "No." And I told you before, like, he's not into that stuff. And I'm like, "You kidding me? This is like #1 on Netflix right now. Like, it friggin' like blew it up. Like, are you kidding me?" And he's like, "Oh, this." He's watching it fall. He's like, "Oh, this acting sucks. These kids aren't very good." I'm like, "What?" Oh, I never laughed so hard. Oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah, I seen All Her Fault, which is a kidnapping movie, thriller, kind of amazing. The ending was just blew your mind, not expected. Oh, The Beast in Me, I saw with Claire Danes, which was also very good. You know, murder mystery. Did he murder his wife? Did he not? Excellent show, both of those shows. Of course, Welcome to Derry. I'm so happy that you know is out. I've been watching that. Just incredible. Again, I love every episode. It just gets better and better. But all I can say is, wow. Like, wow. Will Having Powers was like the cherry on the top. I'm like, can it get any better? And I know it's going to, and I'm so freaking excited. Let me tell you that much. And you got to wait now till Christmas time, just like waiting for Christmas. But that's okay. I'll hang in there while watching all my other horror movies and shows or whatever. But that's about it. I hope everybody is doing well. I can't wait for episode 134 to drop on Monday. And I will talk to you again on episode 135. And I hope everybody has happy shopping for Christmas. And I hope everybody is in a jolly, cheerful mood. Don't be a humdrum, get the F out of my way, like little shit tard, because nobody likes those kind of people around the holidays at all. So, okay, that's it for now. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.
I think Metal Melody just made the Guinness Book with the number of foghorns. Jeesh.
Well, you were close, Metal Melody. It's Draven, and he's the blood-vomiting bat. If you've ever seen Scars of Dracula, you know where he's coming from. And as far as No Horror Out, Osgood Perkins actually has a film out right now as we speak, I believe, called Keeper, about an Airbnb. But I know very little. I don't know how it's doing either. And I just knew with all my heart that you were going to enjoy Stranger Things. Of course, I think that you have quadrupled the size of the swear jar at this point, but obviously a fan. And maybe that's not why you're with your ex anymore. When, look at your take of Stranger Things and his take. Obviously, opposites did not attract in this particular situation. But always great to hear from you, Metal Melody, and we look forward to hearing from you again next week.
Goditi questo episodio de Cast Macabro.
Thank you, Maria Monstalia, for telling our Italian friends to enjoy this episode of Macabre Cast. So here we go, skidding into December like Leatherface taking a corner in those heels. We have each year wrap up with a holiday about filling our hearts with love. Probably a good thing for people like me who are far too cynical and black and white. Because for people like me, it's that time to remember that we never know what someone else may be going through. And that whenever possible, if we can be anything, be kind. Holidays can sometimes be a big reminder to people of those who aren't here anymore to celebrate. So I will continue to remind myself this holiday season that when I show up to anything, I will try to always show up with love. That's not always the easiest thing to do, but it's how it should be. Be kind and rewind, monster kids. Beware the moon. Keep clear of the moors. But most of all, remember, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon, I hope. This is a Macabre Theater production. Subscribe us.